Hi there, I'm Aude Seynt Martin, and today I would like to talk to you about codependence, the overreacting that often comes with codependence. So I have been this girl who was reacting to everything, argument, situation, even though I knew better, and without realizing that every time I was essentially giving my power away. And it was really, really painful to have this constant feeling of being unable to express myself, to make myself understood. Years to figure out a way of managing my interactions. And now I don't have to fight anymore whenever I want to make my point of view understood and coming across with whatever I want to convey. And expressing myself has become absolutely naturally, even when the subject is contentious. So if explaining yourself is like a constant battle, if you often end up being told that you're over the top, exaggerating, crazy, full of nonsense, and you feel like essentially you never heard, then today I will give you the tool that will help you turn around this situation and improve your life in many, many areas. So please bear with me, and in the meantime, to have more information, please hit the subscribe button. I think that the first step is to become aware that overreacting results from difficulties of self-expression and trying to make yourself heard and understood. Okay, this results very often from childhood actually. When you're a child, you essentially depend for your survival on your parents' and carers' goodwill. So the child naturally will seek validation and comfort and reassurance with their parents. And this is from such validation that we do learn to connect with the self. Sometimes, and unfortunately, we don't receive the right validation because maybe our parents didn't get this validation themselves. They probably don't know how to connect to themselves. And it is also very possible that the interactions in a family between the parents and various family members are quite flawed and disruptive. Myself, I grew up in quite a dysfunctional family. My dad had a very narcissistic behavior, and my mom, essentially the only motivation she had was how I am going to do not to make my husband react. So every day, it was crazy, it was revolving around that, okay, let's make everything so that dad is not angry, dad is not displeased. And he was essentially like the sun god, and we were the planets revolving around him, with my mother orchestrating the ongoing and the house, making sure that everything was smooth and everything was like my dad would like it to see. When you're raised in such a situation, you are in a state of hypervigilance to what is going on around you, and that comes at the total expenses of your own feelings. Understand that your brain is programmed to be wired on what everybody else is feeling, but not what you are feeling. And as for my friend INFJ here, who are from their personality naturally wired on seeking external validation rather than internal, being raised in such a family is like a double whammy. Like you become the super carer of everybody else but your own. Okay, so unfortunately, most of the people will go through life from their feeling and realizing that something is off for their relationship and not working the way they would like to work, and unsure of what they really want. And this makes them very vulnerable to manipulation and, of course, prone to react the wrong way, which will always put them in a situation of disempowerment. I know, I have been there for years. As I said, it took me nearly 4 decades to get out of it. But the good news is, once you become aware of what's going on and you can actually understand why it is going on, then you are starting to be able to take the right steps to overcoming, and you will quickly experience noticeable improvements in your life. Now, the brain is like a toolbox. So if, for example, you want to put in the wall a nail, but you don't have a hammer, but only a screwdriver, that might be difficult. And of course, because you've not been prepared to tune to your feelings, and you don't have this tool. And now our job is to create the tool and reintegrate in our brain the tools that will allow you to do that. The first step towards building this muscle in our brain, this connection that will allow you to have normal reaction, is to detach. Take a step back. Make sure you don't react. Pause. No matter what, pause and ask yourself, what is it going on here? Okay, maybe mom had a bad hair day. Maybe the boyfriend didn't have the promotion he thought he deserved. And actually, it doesn't matter. Essential is to get with this question, what is going on here? Because from being present with that, you are going to automatically detach from the situation and become the observer. Also, please understand, to help detach yourself, that if you are living off a template, there's a fair chance that the people you are interacting with is living off their own template. And this type of situation, they're never, ever personal, even if they might feel like it. It's not your job to fix them, okay? Whatever happened, that's not what I'm saying, but it's your job, for your own sake and your ultimate freedom from codependency, to look at the situation from an outsider position. Okay, so when we detach, what can happen? Actually, you can get an even stronger reaction in front of you. And why that is? Because your dad, your mom, your partner, whoever is not used to that reaction. It's suddenly not feeding the habitual interaction that exists. So what you're going to get more often than not is an stronger coming towards you. Imagine you're a boat and there's a storm coming up, and the storm is increasing. Your job is to put down the sail, hold on here, ride the waves, and until the storm goes away. And of course, this requires a certain practice, and you might not and probably will not get it right from the first time. It can also really feel very unnatural, very painful, but be aware you are building your muscle of detachment. Stay there and hang on there. Okay, second step is to tune in. So connect with your feeling. Let's say you are meeting your boyfriend and you were really expecting spending a great afternoon, the two of you getting to know each other better, creating some nice memories together, and suddenly he shows up with his children, his ex is sick or whatever, and it's not exactly what you expected. And you can be disappointed, you can feel unsupported because you're not the priority, you can even feel some jealousy towards the children. Whatever you're feeling, connect with it, stay with that, and do not judge. Every time we judge a feeling, we actually give them more strength. Bottling down or judging your feeling will make them grow stronger, and it is a sure recipe for them to come up in the long run, but like times 10, okay? And this also will feed the overreaction. So here we stay with our feeling and we do not judge them. It might also be, as I said, difficult to connect exactly to the feeling that is there, but okay, you feel something is off. Now that you have acknowledged that, understand what you can and what you cannot control. So for example, you cannot control what you are presently feeling. You cannot control the circumstances. You cannot control that your ex is a divorced man, that he takes care of his children. Now, what you can control is your reaction. And especially when emotion kicks in, I would take the milestone, especially at the beginning when this process is not very natural. Maybe you just want to be on the safe side, and in our example it would be, okay, it's not what I want, but I will be a good sport, I will support these children and play along. Now, I might want to revisit these feelings later on, and because they're good indicators that maybe this situation is not ultimately what I want. Whatever decision you're going to take, make sure that it is solely based on meeting your internal needs. It is really, really important that you try as much as possible not to have an agenda. In other words, not to make a decision hoping to get a certain reaction from your partner. Because again, this is something that you can't control, and it will only reinforce the codependency and make you feel like a crazy codependent again. If you attempt to control the other person by being over nice, by staying there hoping that things will change, it's extremely disempowering. It's essentially living a life by proxy. As I was saying, this will not happen overnight, but if you follow these steps, I promise you will overcome your codependence and its symptoms such as overreactive, and your life will definitely improve in many, many areas. Also, when you understand and connect with your feeling, you reach a level of self-compassion. It's not self-pity. You don't need self-pity when you have self-compassion. And you suddenly realize that all this time you've not been crazy or over, but just, it was a symptom of your codependency. You probably try to love unavailable people, attract a balanced situation, and you reach a level of self-love where overreacting is not the answer. Okay, I hope that this video has been helpful for you guys. Once again, hit the subscribe button, and bye bye for now.